Hey folks, we're going to continue working on Spelljammer combat and exploration artwork here in just a few moments. Give me a second here to check my signal. I'll get through my intro spiel and then we'll get to work. For those that are catching this after the fact in the future, you can skip forward like 2 minutes to get past my intro spiel stuff. If you're here for the first time, my name's Theurgy. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, I publish them online, and I've been focusing my attention on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition here for the past 5 years. There are a slew of links in the description down below to previous books that I've created. They all have extensive previews, so if you're here for artwork, then you can click on any of those books. There's probably about 150 illustrations amongst a lot of them. If you're here for D&D 5e stuff, the things I build are for both Dungeon Masters and players alike, and I run a campaign. Maybe every 200 to 250 hours I'll get through another level 1 to 20 campaign. So if you think the stuff that's in there, if you think that stuff is cool, consider making a buy to encourage similar behavior in the future. Otherwise, let's see, I've just posted, checking, wait, there we go. Okay, great. I just posted that I am live on Twitter, so you can follow me on Twitter if you're interested in getting notifications of when I'm live in the future at Theurgy, as well as illustrations and look-sees. Best way to support the channel overall is like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers is my first major goal for the channel. So I'm here 6 days a week. If you think some of the artwork, the conversations, or the D&D stuff is cool, consider sticking around. I'd love to have you. So we created this book cover. Where are we at? We're at episode 256 right now. We created this book cover back at episode, I want to say around episode 15, so you can go into the Wayback Machine on the playlist here. Hey, Karen, to see the creation of the book cover. Otherwise, let's see, we create role-playing games, we illustrate them, we publish them online. So obviously, I'm an illustrator, so making a book cover, here we go. But we have an idea, so we'll play test the idea, we'll recruit people, play it through, see if it works. If it does, we'll start putting words to it. Once we think we have all the words that we need, we hire an editor, send it off, get it back from the editor with the words sounding good. We then drop it into our word processor. We're using Microsoft Word here to put all the text on a page. When everything is laid out on their individual pages, there's typically a lot of gaps left over amongst the ideas of text that we're using. That is an opportunity for us to create illustrations to fill the book. So in this instance, if we zoom down here, we're working on the last page of the exploration chapter currently. So if we zoom in on that, we have an individual page. We can then extract that as a PDF, drop it here into Photoshop for us to paint. And so that is where we're at when we're putting in illustrations. When the illustration is done, we'll take all of the illustrations that we've been creating and we'll drop them all back into the document. Once they're all back into the document, we'll fuse it all into a PDF, which we'll then publish online, and you'll have a free preview that you can look at all the illustrations. And if you're a D&D enthusiast, you can check out the mechanics, see if you want to use them. If you find this brings value to your game, then consider making a purchase. So just like everything else, we just build a book, we put it up there. If it's useful, please consider buying it, and then we start a new book. So we're going to continue working on this asteroid, this ring around this planet, and I'm seeing this effect here this graphic effect is too close to the text, so I want to create a little bit of a gap. See, I have a gap here. I want to mirror that gap here and make sure. So all I gotta really do is just scoot the thing over. But I do want to make sure everything's lined up proper. Where are you at, my little fish? Map. Get that centered up in that space, and I feel that I want to drop this. Let's do this. Just fixing some shit. I think I can probably afford to drop this down a couple of ticks. Nope, maybe not. Here, how do I want to play this out? Down the line like that. What about, let's disable this real quick. And get the planet out of the way. Yeah, space falls short on its own. Accursed space. There. What are you doing there, buddy? Oh, no, you don't. Oh, no, no. Oh, no, no. Let's go to window, and we'll go to brush settings, and we're going to get rid of spacing. Ah, oh, look at that. It's like butter. This is a pretty good brush. I'm really happy with this smudging tool. It does sleek really well, like airbrushy sort of stuff. I'm really happy with it. The cloud brush that we've been using for smudgery, it's really good for clouding, like to disperse pixels. But this new brush that we built during the what are we trying to say here? When we were doing the Yggdrasil painting for the Reclamant role-playing game for Joseph Vargas about 2 months ago, we were having fun and just making random tools, and this is one of the brushes that I ended up making, and I'm really digging it. I've been using it on my my other commission that I'm working on Saturday. The giant mecha from the Abyss, Enriven the Shatterer weapon. That's been. I'm not liking where that's going. I'm gonna clean that up a bit. A little too positionally. I want to drop down my opacity here and just do a little ziggy zaggy, just a bit to work this in, to get rid of any of the streaking. There, much better. A little bit of streaking here, but we can jiggle that out. There. Feels pretty smooth. Yeah, okay. And then we can drop our planet back in. Blip. Good. And now it feels like it's right into the edge. So that's good. Now we'll put the screen back on. Blip. 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 That feels fairly lined up. Let's drop back down here into here. That'll solve it. There we go. That's all we needed to do. Needed to do. Click, click. Needed to do. Needed to do. Needed to do. Good. And now we need to fix our horizons down here. Yes. Yes. Yes, we do. Ride that edge. Perfect. Ride that edge. That. Good. Good, good, good. Let's zoom in here, make sure this is lined up. Good edge there. Good. And then back down here. Perfect. Perfect edging. All right, cool. We're back in shape. This is where we need to be. Once we get this illustration done, we have another illustration about the size of this paragraph that we need to, that I'm considering doing. I don't have to necessarily do it, but I have an idea for it, so I think I'll do it anyway. And that'll finish up the exploration chapter. So we're almost done with this chapter completely. We have all the diagrams done for this chapter as well. I'll show you that, guy. I'll show you that real quick before we... Actually, nah, I'll save that for next time. I want to get back to work. So let's stop... Let's stop procrastinating. Stop trying to hit me and hit me. So let's see. We got the general flak back there. We got some stones there. We got some stones here. Stones. 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 There we go. Let's pull this one in a bit like that. Create a little gap here. Create a little interest point. Okay, this might just be enough for us to just get started in on actual terrain that we're building here. Okay, so if we are going to go with my gut and stick a star on it. Blur, filter, blur, Gaussian blur. There, good enough for now. That gives us a source of light for us to mess around with. Probably scoot it over just a touch for framing. Yeah. Is that gonna be good enough lighting? Maybe I want. Where do I want the lighting here? I could pull it here to push shadows this way, but now we've got a really empty space here. We need, like, this is doing a really good job filling that empty panel. But I'm concerned about the angles of where the cast shadows are going to be coming from with structures up here. So this, compositionally, I think this sits well in breaking this large space. But it's forcing all the shadows towards the camera. But we have the planet that should be throwing shadows this way. So, okay, great. So we have a corner here. We're going to see shadows coming off this way and stronger shadows coming off this way. It should be fine. All right. Yeah, it should be fine. I'm happy that's there. That needs to happen. Yeah, these don't need to happen. Let's go with what's going to be our next step here? Now that edge lighting makes a lot more sense. Let's make that really thin. That'll do. Let's go with back edge, and we'll pull these into ring organization is important. Good. A little specific detail, but it was important to me. Let's see. So what we're going to do from here? We want to start applying dirt to the tarmac. Tarmac is a term of like the loam of the ground, the topsoil mixed with root and dirt, blah. Let's go to what do we want to do? Oregon Coast Forest. Let's try that. Hey, timely timer, thank you. So let's take this, let's go to our reference page here. That's a very big picture. Take that to there, and I think I want to use this for the ground. So I'm just gonna copy that image and drop that. No. No. Occasionally my system glitches and won't give me the picture I want. Of course it's in Earthborn. Where else would this image be? Reddit Earthborn is just the best channel for referencing stuff. Let's see. Ring. Let's just dump soil on top of it and see how that goes. What I want to do is what I really want. So that forest breaks into that. That's fantastic. That might be the kind of lighting. Look at that. Interesting structures in here. This is a cool piece. I can definitely make use of that forest, though. Look at that sharp blue coming off of those woods. That's crazy. There's such a stark contrast to these reds that are coming out of this trunk here. Some good greens here. So good. Right on. We can make good things. We can do good stuff with this. But what I want for now, you know what? Honestly, I should be paying attention to that. We get the coast down here. We can have like a. That feels good. Like around inside of that space. How about you? How you looking? That's not bad. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay, so I can lay down in the distance here. We can start topping soil on this stuff. We'll drop this down to like that. Yeah, not a big fan of this. It doesn't stand out much different from the topography that I have over here. What's up? Gray brown, so with a slight red shading. So you're suggesting that I skew up my red a little bit? Maybe I back off the blue a touch. How's that feeling? Is that looking better? Right now we are literally dropping topsoil onto these rocks. Saying that better. Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, it's gonna push further into red and green as we move forward into the composition. So we'll see how this pans out. I think you get the gist of it though, so it's probably gonna be okay with your guidance. going to dot some of these little specks through here, even though they're far lighter than they should be. I can drop down the opacity to blend these back in a bit, but I want to have this language going here. Paste here. I need to stipple this texture in and drop the opacity so it's not as bright. But I need to have this grittiness going along the length of the ring, so it starts to provide subtle information about like what's going on with the rocks up here and how abundant are there in rocks where this, you know, curves off. So I need to straighten off that curve a little bit more. That's essentially what we're looking at. Ring. There we go. Edge. There. That's looking pretty good. Let's fill in the rest of this. Oh, what the deuce? Come on, dude. Merge that down. There. There. That helps. And let's see. Back onto this. The lighting here is so weird. It feels almost like underwater. That down. There. A lot of futzing around I'm doing here, getting things set up. I think it's gonna pop off once we do, though. I'll say one of the things that a lot of people don't know, and researching Bob Ross, it turns out that every painting that he did on TV, he did at least 3 times off TV, just so he would know what the composition was supposed to look like. So when it came time for the camera to be live, he had off screen, and you'll see him looking at them, different versions of the same painting that he was currently working on as a reference. So you can remember how he built it. And then that's where that decision making is coming from that he talks about on the camera. It's not like he's lying to us or anything. It's just smart to practice what it is that you do first before you go live. And he's basically a performer, right? He's producing, he's performing for the camera a show, but the end result is a craft. He was basically the first streamer. So it doesn't make me bad that I have to futz over stuff for a little while before I get things up and running like this. Like, there's a lot of setup time, but if you want your composition to work, you have to take time to make sure that you're prepping it. Covering your angles, making sure you're thinking about your lighting, how you have your layers stacked up so you can process the data easily inside of the user interface. All these little things. Yeah, so far I'm pretty happy though. Where are you at? Oh, are you back here? I wonder. I figure once I get this grit on top of here, I can put in the water between the rocks here to start forming that language. And that'll be a good use of what's next. All I gotta do is just keep pushing forward, keep putting on another layer, keep adding in more color, keep working the texture in, and eventually the piece will manifest itself for us. We have the general idea of what it is that we're looking for. Now we're just looking for the pixels to do it. I don't remember the name. I was watching, I think it was Joe Rogan. I was watching, they were talking about the Incan and Mayan societies in South America prior to Spanish invasion. But apparently they had this soil. I forgot the special name that they gave it to, but basically it was so rich in nutrients and plant nutrients that when you mixed it in with the soil, like with dead soil, like Mars soil, you mix this stuff in and it makes the whatever soil it comes in contact with, the enzymes and the little organism bodies, the nourishment that exists in soil flows over to the other soil. I don't think it survives the vacuum of Mars, but apparently we have the ability to reproduce this stuff slowly. But it's a quote-unquote manufactured soil using whatever ancient techniques we've forgotten to enrich the vitality of soil. But apparently that's a thing that can be done, that can be crossed to other soils, and it quote-unquote infects the soil with nutrients so that plants will grow in it well. Apparently that's this quote-unquote technology is what they used to be able to put crops into jungle environments. Jungle environments are notoriously abusive of nutrients in soil. Like the trees and the biome, the jungle biome just saps nutrients from the ground like crazy, apparently, because of the massive amount of vegetation life per mile, I guess, is heavily fatiguing. So they developed the soil to counteract the leaching effects of jungle plants so that they could actually, grow crops amidst trees and jungles. And I found that fascinating. That if you're going to terraform a world, that you basically want this super nutrient to infect the soil of wherever it is that you're going so you can terraform it. This is coincidentally very similar to what's going on in the Crystals of Mabar adventure that I illustrate on Mondays and Thursday nights. I'll be illustrating more maps for the Mabar adventure tonight as well, by the way. We're going back to the we're going back to the farmhouse homestead to look at the different results of being attacked by undead, whether ran away, AOK, or DOA. And we already have the AOK. We have the cleared out facility already. We need to add in AOK with all the utensils and furniture still intact because that household is okay. And then we also need a household intact bloody mess for the 3 different versions. So we got the first version done already. We're going to we're basically going to play house and drop a bunch of utensils, furniture, and stuff. We're going to, decorate the house? Yeah, we'll call it that. We're going to decorate the house today. And if we have time, once that's done, then we'll start the massacre of the people that live in the house that's being decorated. For when the zombies attack, break down their door, do the killing. Oh, I need to fix the doors in the village too. That's something I need to fix. So I'm doing some maintenance stuff tonight on the village maps. Messing around with layers and copying and pasting a bunch of... It doesn't sound very exciting, does it? Sometimes it's not. There's a lot of aspects of art that lack any kind of sex appeal, like, at all. So the darker spots are more level spots. The lighter it gets, the further down it curves down the side of the rock. That's helping us form opinions and ideas about where structures and can be, because if somebody was trying to populate, was trying to make a home out of these rocks, they would want to look at what's the most stable surface where I can put start building a structure on. So they're going through that same mental process that we're going through right now of let's I mean, I get the advantage of sculpting these things, so I get to play God for a little bit. Cheers. But the end result is the same of what's some cool little nooks and areas that we can create inside of here that will work well for homes or whatever structure, structures in general, starting with homes. Obviously you need shelter. And this stuff it's not really anything until it's everything. It becomes, it changes from just messing around like this into like serious topography pretty quickly. It's just we have to respect the process and let the stuff feed out. And we're working in layers here to make sure we're maintaining a consistency in language and appearance that we can replicate as it gets further back in detail. It'll have less. So if we do a good job of defining minimal detail in the background, that'll help feed into the realism of having structures closer with a little bit more detail. And there's so much scale involved with this. I think I'm going to end up fading a lot of this that we have going on back here. There's that, and then we're going to put this on top of it. Hey, what's up? Hey, game. What's up, dude? Just drawing good. I need a new channel asset pack. Right on, man. I'm going to push this to the foreground. We're going to work with this here. Foreground, midground, background. So the background needs to be broken into another chunk here. Cool. So we can go here and we can go like, let's go with 35. 33, yeah, 33 sounds good. And then we'll go with this one here. We'll go to 50 on this one. And then we'll go 66 here. And then we're 100% up front. Having a misalignment here. Let's check this out. Let's go with here. Good. That feels right. Rocks, seal those up. Jump forward here again to the colors that we're using here in the foreground, just to mock up the texture a bit more. Bop, 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 bop. I really I have no idea how this is supposed to pan out, but I've done so many landscape paintings in the past. There's not much difference between this composition that we're working on right now and any other landscape that I've produced, other than the unusual nature of the limits of the land and how the what's the word I'm looking for? The topography, the terrain, the actual objects that we're working with. They're also pretty unique, but overall, there's not much difference between this and any other landscape painting that I would do. I've done, I have to have done over 200 landscapes at this point, at least. So I'm pretty confident. I don't really need to know what my plan is going into this. I just have faith that it's going to end up working out and looking right, just because they always do. So my job is to follow my heart and let my instincts lead me to cool terrain opportunities where we can build neat stuff. Sheer drop. They added this fucking heart thing to the. I didn't ask for this, because all that heart is doing is blocking off text that I can fucking read. Sheer drop rock facings may be more common. I see what you're saying. Yeah, we'll see. But it's just going to depend on the shape of each individual rock as we work it. I'm not trying to think. I'm keeping in mind that these are all rocks that are basically sealed together by just grit, dirt, soil, roots, packing together over time. So the top of it can be built up to a fairly hospitable terrain, but like you're saying, yeah, the sides when it drops off can be much more just revealing of the type of stone. There we go. Got some of these little nibbly bits here that I want to get rid of. Nibbly bit. There. Seal that up, and then this tarmac should pop as we move across the surface here. Hey, how are you doing, Ramon? I don't think I've seen you around before. The three places that I know that people could potentially find me is on different role-playing game discords that I lurk on and sharpen my knives at. YouTube could have suggested you off of the homepage, or you saw a tweet that I punched out that I'm doing work. I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know if you're an artist or you're a D&D enthusiast, but we're currently creating art for a D&D book. If you're not familiar already, I play and run Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I'm an illustrator and I build books. So I'll build a book like this. I'll take all these gaps and I'll put artwork in them, and then when they're done, I seal them up as a PDF and I publish them online. I've got a stack of books down below in the description that have free previews, so you can see the type of stuff that I build if you're interested. But yeah, fantasy illustration. I've been freelancer for third-party content producers since the early 2000s, and once 5th edition came out, I decided that I wanted to start making books too, and I'll become my own art director and assign myself art to produce, which is what we're doing right now. I've on my docket is this half page of space fantasy art. So we're in the process of putting soil on the rocks in the ring around the planets that we're going to put, houses and pubs and all the things on. Looks like I got a line here that's breaking. border. It means my I cut too close with my masking layer, so I'm going to get rid of that line here on my mask before we continue. Just like that. So this is what, our 200 and... Where are we at? 200 and something? 256. Shit. Yeah, 256th episode of building this book from scratch. Pretty fucking cool. You watch a lot of art streams? Oh, right on. Yeah, I use Photoshop and a Wacom tablet. I use a 6 inch by 9 inch Wacom tablet in 202. I use their Art Pen TM that lets me like here's the smudge tool that I'm using. You see, you can rotate and spin it around. This is what it looks like. It has a soft edge here along the tip. It's built like a guitar pick, and the curved edge is soft, while the tight point is a hard edge. So it lets me push like here with this soil color that we're working on. I can use the soft front end. I can use the soft edge of this to disperse the pixels, and I can use the back edge to carve and push them. And depending on how I shape the tool, depends on what kind of results I get out of it. Whether it's sidelong, doing a blend, or leading one edge over the other to create different type of texture and roughage. So it's a pretty fun tool. When I get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to put all these tools on my Patreon for free for people to grab and take advantage of if they want them. My Patreon is linked down below at Phil Kearney. All my stuff is Phil Kearney, Phil Kearney, Phil Kearney, Phil Kearney. Because I am Phil Kearney. We'll take this. Yeah, there we go. Put that into there. Decent contrast over here. I got all that grit in. Grit in. I think we can, topsoil down. We'll call this topsoil. Topsoil. And then I think between the ring and the topsoil, I think is where we can afford to put our water. Let's go with this. How about this for a color? Too blue. Sharper color here. So for those that don't know, the way that gravity works in the spell jamming supplement, if an object is larger than 10 miles, it's going to have planetary spherical gravity like we're used to here on Earth. But if an object is outside of a planet's gravity influence in space, then if it's smaller than 10 miles in size, it has planar gravity, where when you split the object in half here, and you'll have a gravity that goes this way and a gravity that goes this way. If it's larger than 10 miles in size, then it's large enough to be able to generate spherical gravity. This is just the rules of the game. That's been around since 1989. But if it's 10 miles or larger, that's spherical gravity. If it's smaller than 10 miles, basically if it fits inside of a 10-mile space, it's going to have planar gravity, which means that you have an absolute up and an absolute down. Like if you have a ship like this, boop, 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 you'll have an upper deck, and you can stand on the bottom deck upside down. This ring that we're building here, none of these rocks that are in this ring around the planet are larger than 10 miles in size. Here's a quick map of a 1,000 mile scale square, and this is a couple hundred feet or a couple hundred miles of strip that runs around in a circle here that you can see off in the distance down here. That's curving around to face us here, but goes off screen. Like if we were to look at the full ring of this, like this ring would extend off like way over here. So 200 miles, 50-foot scale, 500, it'd be 200, it'd be 2,000 squares. It'd be 2,500-foot squares that we would have across the length of this ring that's facing us, which would be like way off camera, like over there in the edge, like towards like off over there. So we're only showing a snippet of the full breadth of this ring surrounding the planet, but we'll be able to show enough of it, I think, to get the gist across. So since there's this flat plane that everything literally gravitates to in this flat plane, any water that pours down forms a flat plane of water that's basically being trapped inside of all these rocks that get fused together. So you can have this, and the momentum of the ring spinning around the planet in orbit generates the momentum to create tides and to push the water forward. So that's what we're illustrating right now. Oops. And since there's gravity on the top side and the bottom side, you can have a building here and a building here. And the only way to get from one to another is to drop down into the water and then swim through the water and pop up the other side, or to jump off and let gravity, portal style, ride the edge and then like drop off the side and then climb back up the other side. Or have a ship that'll fly you one direction or another. So that's my 20-minute timer to make sure I don't fall down a rabbit hole. But it's only, it's 7:30. Okay. So I've got another 20 minutes today. We'll be back tonight to do cartography for the Eberron adventure that I've been building. And we'll be back, let's see. I'm going to do some. I'm going to do some review of Eldraine creatures for Dungeons and Dragons that were created in the Magic the Gathering Wilds of the Eldraine box set. But I'm not going to post it on Discord. I'll post it on both Twitter, and if you're subscribed here, like the subscribe button, you'll get notification that I'm live this at lunchtime today. It's Seattle here. It's 7:30 in the morning. I'll be back probably like in 6 hours. Like 6 hours from now, I'll be back on, and I'll do some creature conversion, like I was saying, for Eldraine into D&D 5e. There we some little waterways that are kind of running through here. I have little hints of it with little streaks of the same water that we're using, but I just want to smudge those in. Because obviously you're not going to have any real information about what's going on this far away on the ring over yonder. Oh, that's an interesting idea. Let's try doing that instead. We can take the ring. We have the back edge here. Back edge has the lighting. Back edge has some general radiance here. These rocks, and then where are the rest of these coming in at? Hold on. Back ring. We got apparently some super background gritty stuff, but I can't find where its layer is at. Okay, that must be it. Let's try there. Let's try. Let's try here. This doesn't seem like it's doing what I want it to do. But I'm going to be stubborn with it for a few moments here and grit that out. Plenty good. Disbursement in there. That feels good. I like that. Okay. Let's see. What happens if I do that? Reveals flaws to us is what it does. Yeah. Yeah, pretty good brush. We'll be able to put some atmosphere over and under. I think we'll be able to do that. I mean, there's going to be some atmosphere because there's trees and shit, right? So it's naturally going to have some sort of atmospheric presence. Where are we at? Water. And then topsoil. There we go. And then rain. Water. Topsoil. Topsoil. No, those are rocks. Where's my topsoil? Topsoil. Cup holders. Researchers say. Let's be here. There, if I stippling in this soil grit color, and then by erasing it down a little bit, we can start getting common language going through the scene, even if it's just mildly inferred. Here, I'm going to take my eraser, I'm going to drop it down to 20%. I'm just going to traipse across it so it fades in a little bit more to the background. Again, at this state, at this level of this amount of distance, all I really need is just grittiness and some texture. That's all I'm really looking for. And we have an up tilt bias that we're above, like we're looking slightly above this plane, so only really huge structures would be evident along that back edge at all. Like at most we might have like some smoke or radiance or something like that coming off of like people's torches or whatever. But the technology level is not high enough to have gas lighting or electricity. It's still largely oil resources that we're using. Like 1800s, like, well, not 1800s, like 1600s. It's probably about a realistic level of technology that's offered in this setting. Yeah, that doesn't feel too far off the mark. Let's work this as water. Stitch up the ring. We can stitch up the top soil for now. Let's focus on our water here. Let's go grab our references and let's dip into some darker water. How does that feel? There, that's pretty good. I think we can use that. Smudge this stuff into place. There we go. Just like that. I'm being a little picky because I want to create these little spaces and these gaps in here that are going to go a long way to informing the rest of this of the ring. Having water carry off screen, it allows it to go and be as infinite as you can imagine it would be. I keep falling in love with this place. Like because of the planar gravity, just because like rocks connect up here and you lose sight of it as it goes under, like it flows underground. That just means that underground means if you flip over the wheel or the ring and you look on the other side, that means it's just flowing across on top of the rocks. Like these rocks here, the water is flowing on top of for the folks that are on the other side of the ring. So these middle gaps here is like I was saying, that's like you can pass through one side to the other if there's not any rock like bedrock that's actually floating along the center line that the water is flowing on top of on both sides. But the through gaps are potentially valuable central resources for the community on both sides of the ring, and the it might not be easy. I mean, it's not easy for humans to transmit information from one side to another through water like that using 1600s technology. So it may well be that this inverted gravity water effect is a limiter on how these communities can engage with each other, which I think is really interesting. I'm going to duplicate this layer here, merge it down here. I'm going to call this topsoil. And erase away whatever it is we got hanging out here in the water line so we can keep our water fairly pristine. That feels pretty good. I'm going to trim that up a little bit so it curves around a little bit more off screen, off to the right. Curve that down. I really like where that's at. There. Here. Oh god, that's so cool. I'm seeing all these all these little lumps and flat effects, plateaus, level marks that we can put buildings into. So I'm getting kind of excited about next steps, which is about what we're ready to get into here. Just about ready to get there. Where are we at? 7:45. Let's delay our fun just a little bit longer. Here's this. Huh. Let's cover that over. Keeping our perspective in mind. Good. Straight edge that stuff. Perfect. Clean that up a touch. Okay. Now we can take We have this darker blue here that we can work over this. Let's mess around with some mids. Oops, wrong layer, Kearney. Dumbass. I want this dark on a separate layer. Thank you. I think I want to keep this this rimming, the lighter blue. Makes it just feel a little unnatural to me. Should make it interesting though. I really want to develop this place as an actual environment for people to play in. I want to keep that little edge along the rocks here, but up here it doesn't make any sense to have that because the perspective here is that the water is hitting up against the rocks here at the base. That's where that chop is coming from, that lighting effect. So it makes a sense. It makes enough sense along the borders here. But as like these front rocks here, like this perspective is going to take that away. Yeah. I hear you. Thank you. Fine. Thanks. It's our time to go. It's 7:49 here in Seattle. I've got an 8 o'clock start time from our JOB. I want to respect Caesar, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and what Caesar demands is my time and effort. And I will happily exchange my time and effort for the lifestyle that allows me to do this in the morning, every morning. God bless my life. Got just another moment here where I'll be able to cue this up. And so by making it darker up front here, this is creating quote-unquote atmospheric disturbance or atmospheric perspective by having a darker, richer color in the foreground to fade out to something more palish here in the distance. Helps create that depth of illusion. That illusion of depth is the word I'm trying to use. There's some text happening over there on the right-hand side of the screen. I see ya. Yep, water and soil today. Well, hey, I mean, you know, that's the process. And it's only an hour and a half that we had to play with. So we did more than that. We put in a star. We had to rebuild. Our framing here. Once the frame was rebuilt, then we were, yes, able to lay in soil. We also figured out the ring back here. We did the ring lighting on the back edge. A lot of, yeah, not a lot of huge movements. But it's all part of getting the thing built out. This is the last I think this is the last like large significant piece. I'll take that back. The random system generator has 6 illustrations that are half pages or larger, but that's going to be like a lot of I think more planetary type stuff. I don't think it's going to be intense detail or like there's no character art that I expect. Maybe some ships. But we're almost done with all the like really intense illustration pieces. We have a few quarter pages that we still get to do, like gunners and stuff like that in the combat section. But we're getting down to the grittiest of nitties. I think us publishing in January is very realistic. Could have had this done a lot faster if I didn't give a shit about the art, but the art was the whole point of me doing all this in the first place. So of course I'm going to give a shit about the art. Cannot be helped. Nice. That's a really. There's not a lot of dichotomy here in the sense of value, light or dark. But I can tell there's a really sharp difference in the soil from the water. It's the amount of red that, Karen, you suggested that we add into that soil initially. That's paying off in spades right now, I believe. Man, I like that gradient effect. That feels really good. We'll be able to put in, you can see here, these little ripple effects that help create highlights. We'll be able to add those highlights in and the cast shadows the next time we come around. But I'm just gonna see if I can. I've still got like 3 or 4 minutes, so I'm gonna see if I can just wash this in. That was really good foresight, Karen. Really, really good suggestion. I'm recognizing the wisdom now of. I was thinking initially these are all bluish rocks. The soil shouldn't really be all that lush, but like soil's like blood for plants, so having a redness to it makes sense. And we wouldn't have this. And we wouldn't have this. I can just feel the. I don't see the color, of course, because I'm colorblind, but I can feel like the heat difference here. So I'm liking how we're looking here. Liking how you're looking. Little bit of tip. Joe? No, thank you. You're the one that's helping me make a better piece. Like I have, because of my visual limitations, I cannot afford pride. I have to just own when I make mistakes with humility, And the more I'm willing to ask for help and reaching out for people's opinions about stuff, the more I get to learn, the better off I get to be. We're going to stop for the day, just like that. Oh god, that's so lush. Look at that. This is going to be such a pretty fucking piece when it's done. Anyway, hoping it is. So yeah, we got our soil in, we've got our base. Like, this is on a, if that's a 200-mile ring that we've got running around in the background here, we're going to end up seeing, this is easily a 500-foot area, maybe. It's going to be interesting to see. We got our topsoil there, so we're going to add another layer in on top of that. This is going to end up being something like this, probably initially. Have a building like this. Like, we can start building like little basically foundation square blocks where these buildings can be put in. So we get to do a whole bunch of cool little map pieces to see how these things are going to sit. And this would be like a 200-foot house here, and have a cottage here, and a cottage here. A road that goes through, so we'll have to build roads and like little pavilions and stuff. But this is a scale that we get to work at. And then we can have, this is a hill, right? That's significant in comparison to maybe where this is at. So there could actually be here's where this is at, and here's where this is at, and this is half the height of this. So when we put buildings and stuff up here compared to buildings and stuff down here, they'll be larger. We can do like this. Structures like that. Have a door that's this large in a building here. That leads out to a thing here, that leads down to a veranda, that leads down to a hill here. So you see we're starting to build, we've got enough of a base now in the world that we can start messing around with where our actual structure is going to be at and the size of things. So, oh my God, you're so kind. Thank you, Karen. That's why, honestly, you've fallen into my trap. The whole reason why I illustrate books here online is for people to see what it is that we're building. I'm eventually going to do Kickstarters. And when I do Kickstarters, I'm going to do the Kickstarter project, and then we're going to do all this stuff for the people that backed it. If you were to back my Kickstarter projects in the future, we would be doing this right here, right now, and I would have a separate channel open for backers to be able to feed into that can provide suggestions. You guys are seeing the super alpha version of what I'll be doing with books in the future. So I'll have an idea. I'll make sure they work. If the ideas work, that's at the point where I can then look to get them funded while we're going through that editing process to have the book built out. And then once we actually have the built, we'll be able to do playtesting with backers, and then we'll be able to hire an editor at a really good cost. We can add in, we need an extra $2,000 to make sure our editor is being well fed for this project, that sort of stuff. And then all the money that gets funded for will just be, the book is going to be what it's going to be. It's just how many people want to participate in its production and be involved in the process. So I'm really excited about where we're going with this. I think we've got a really, really good book that we're building here. But Karen, thank you. It's very kind. It is time for me to bounce out of here. It's 8 o'clock on the button, so I got to hit save, be done. I will be back in about probably about 5 hours to mess around with some Eldraine stuff. So you can like and subscribe here to get notifications, or follow me on Twitter, X at Phil Kearney, to get notifications of when I'm live. I'm here 6 days a week, 10 to 12 different sessions, working on different projects in the evenings and in the mornings and at lunchtimes. So for those folks that think this stuff is cool, thanks a lot for being involved, and I'll be back on the other side. See you then. Cheers.